Dorothy was 69 years old. She lived with her son Kevin in a small apartment in Columbus, Ohio. Her husband Gerald had died 3 years earlier from a stroke. He collapsed without warning and was gone within 2 weeks. Dorothy had slept beside him in the hospital for those 2 weeks and come home alone when it was over. After 45 years of marriage, she was alone. Kevin had been living in Chicago when his father died. He was 43, unmarried, working at a small import company. He stayed with Dorothy for a few weeks after the funeral and then went back. Dorothy learned to live alone. It was awkward for months. Cooking for one felt wrong. Gerald's jacket was still on the hook by the door. She left it there. Kevin lost his job the following spring. The company restructured and he was let go. He called to tell her. His voice was low. She told him it was all right, that things like this happen. That he should come home for a while if he needed to. He asked if he could. She said of course. She thought it might be good to have someone in the house. The first months were fine. Kevin applied for work. He came home each evening and sat at the table and talked a little. Dorothy cooked. She liked watching him eat. Kevin had always eaten well. That had not changed. The change came around the 6-month mark. Applications kept going out and nothing came back. Kevin started drinking in the evenings. First a beer or two, then more, then every night. Dorothy said nothing. She thought it was understandable. She thought it would pass when he found work. But the drinking changed him. He began saying things he had never said before. The food was wrong. The apartment was a mess. The television was too loud. Dorothy absorbed it. She told herself he was struggling. She did not argue back. Over time, without fully noticing it, she began adjusting her whole day around his moods. By the time she recognized what was happening, she did not know how to name it. The first physical incident happened nearly 2 years after he moved in. Dorothy spilled some soup on the stove. Kevin turned from where he was standing and slammed his fist on the kitchen table. The sound was loud and sharp. Dorothy stepped back. Kevin went to his room. She stood in the kitchen for a moment with her hands trembling. By the time she had cleaned everything up, she had decided it was nothing. He had hit the table, not her. She told herself it was the stress. But things that seem like nothing have a way of becoming something. After that, Kevin's hands moved toward her sometimes. He grabbed her arm once, shoved her shoulder another time. He threw a glass across the kitchen on a night he was very drunk. Dorothy moved to her room and locked the door whenever she felt it coming. She lay under the covers and waited for the apartment to go quiet. Then she would come out and sometimes found Kevin asleep on the couch and covered him with a blanket. She noticed herself doing it and could not explain why. She just did. She began wearing long sleeves. Bruises from when he grabbed her arm. Her neighbor Helen saw them once and asked. Dorothy said she had tripped. Helen did not push, but the look she gave Dorothy stayed with her. It was the look of someone who already knew. Her daughter Claire called every month or so from Phoenix. Dorothy always said things were fine. Kevin was fine. She could not say otherwise. She was afraid of what would happen if people knew. Afraid of what it would mean for Kevin. The thought that something was wrong with him was impossible to sit with. So she did not sit with it. She kept it to herself. The night that changed everything came in December. Kevin came in late, clearly drunk, with a folder under his arm. He put papers on the table in front of Dorothy. A property transfer document. He wanted the apartment signed over to his name. He had a debt he hadn't told her about. A guarantee he had co-signed on a loan for a friend. He needed the apartment as collateral or the whole thing would fall apart. Dorothy looked at the papers for a long time. Gerald had bought this apartment. They had rented for 20 years before they could afford to own anything. The day Gerald brought home the signed paperwork, he had been so quiet about it. Just handed it to her. She had said thank you in a way she didn't usually manage. He had nodded and looked away. That apartment. The last thing Gerald had left her. No, Dorothy said. She put the papers back on the table. Her voice was steadier than she expected. She had never said no to Kevin like that. His face changed. He raised his voice. She stood to leave the room. He grabbed both her shoulders and pushed. She stumbled backward into the wall, catching herself with one hand. Her wrist lit up with pain. The neighbor Helen had heard the noise. She called the police. When they arrived, Dorothy was sitting on the couch holding her wrist. Kevin was in his room. An officer asked if she was all right. She said yes, her son had gotten upset, it was nothing. The officer looked at her wrist, which had begun to swell. She recommended Dorothy see a doctor. Dorothy said she was fine. She kept saying it. It was the only thing she could think to say. After the police left, Dorothy went to her room and locked the door. She sat in the dark. Her wrist hurt. She did not cry. She looked at the photo of Gerald on the wall. She did not say anything to it. Some moments are too full for words. A social worker from the county came 3 days later. Her name was Rachel, young, calm. She sat at the kitchen table and asked how Dorothy's wrist was feeling. Dorothy said it was fine. Rachel did not push. She just sat there. She was patient in a way that felt different from the police, different from anyone Dorothy had talked to in months. That must have been frightening, Rachel said finally. Dorothy nodded, just barely, and then she cried. She had not cried when the police came. She cried in front of this young woman she had just met. She told Rachel some of it. Not all, but some. Rachel listened without interrupting. When Dorothy finished, Rachel said there were options. A county program that could help. A place she could stay temporarily if she needed. No pressure, she said. This is your decision. Dorothy did not decide that day. Rachel left her card. Dorothy put it in a drawer. That night Kevin drank quietly in front of the television. He did not raise his voice. Dorothy watched him from the kitchen while she washed the dishes. 43 years old. He used to fall asleep doing homework at the table when he was in middle school. She would move his books and put a blanket over him. He had been a difficult teenager and then a decent man and then this. She did not know which feeling was biggest. Probably all of them at once. Claire called a few days later. Helen had reached out to her. Dorothy had listed Claire as an emergency contact years ago. Claire's voice was tight and frightened. Mom, why didn't you tell me? Dorothy looked out the window. Winter. Bare trees. I didn't want to worry you, she said. Claire cried on the phone. Dorothy listened. I'm coming to get you, Claire said. Dorothy was quiet for a moment. Then she said, what about Kevin? Claire said, Mom, Kevin is responsible for Kevin. You can't keep doing this. Dorothy sat with that. It was not wrong, but it was not easy either. He was still her son. Even now, that had not changed. She did not know if what she felt was love or habit or something. She had no name for. Claire came the following weekend. Kevin was not home. Dorothy did not know if he had known and stayed away. They packed 2 bags. Clothes. Gerald's photograph. An old watch. A few photos of Claire's kids. That was everything. Dorothy turned at the door and looked back at the apartment. Before she closed it. Gerald's apartment. The place where things had been good for a long time before they were not. She closed the door. On the drive to the airport, Claire held her hand for a while. They did not talk much. Dorothy looked out the window at the winter landscape. She thought about Kevin. She knew he was not a bad person who had done bad things out of cruelty. He was a person who had come apart and taken the worst possible path through it. She understood that, but understanding it did not mean she had to stay. Both things could be true at once. She loved him and she was leaving. Both of those were real. In Phoenix, Dorothy slowly came back to herself. Her wrist healed. She began sleeping through the night. She ate full meals. Evenings stopped feeling like something to dread. Claire's children ran around the house and made noise. She found she liked the noise. She thought about Kevin sometimes. She did not call. 3 months later, a text came from Kevin's number. Just checking in. Hope you're okay. Dorothy held her phone and read it several times. She typed back, take care of yourself. That was all. It was enough. She still loves her son. That has not changed. But she learned something at 69 that no one had ever taught her. That loving someone does not mean enduring everything they do to you. That leaving can also be a form of love. It was a late lesson. But she learned it. Spring was coming to Phoenix. The sky was wide and pale blue in the mornings. Dorothy sat on Claire's back porch with her coffee and let the warmth come. She closed her eyes. The air was soft. For the first time in a long time. The morning felt like something to move toward rather than something to get through. If this story stayed with you, please subscribe. There are lives like this one lived in silence everywhere. We will keep telling them. Thank you for listening all the way through.